Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Anar and I'm a self-taught software developer. And on this channel, I help you break into and grow in the tech industry. I started my career path as a software tester or QA professional, and through my own experience and seeing other people progress through their career, I learned about the different career paths available for QA professionals, which I will share with you today. First on the list are manual testers, which are QA professionals which are not required to write any code. This QA role is the easiest to get into when compared to other software testing roles because it has the lowest technical requirements. It is often an entry-level role that most QA professionals start their career with. These types of testers will test software, find bugs, and work with software developers in this fashion until the feature is free of bugs. Sometimes testing features manually requires going beyond the front end or the UI of the application. To do this effectively, software testers will need to have working knowledge of an HTTP client like Postman, as well as some SQL. Some entry-level QA roles are all about testing the UI, in which case knowledge of an HTTP client or SQL is not required. Manual testing is a good fit for somebody that does not want to learn to code and does not want to get deep into any particular technology. You can work as a manual tester for your entire career. Manual testing will never be entirely replaced by test automation. This is because when a feature is just developed and often full of bugs, it is easier and faster to test it manually. Test automation usually comes in later when the feature is relatively stable to prevent retesting. Manual testers can work full-time, or they can do contracts for banks and other major institutions to pull in higher hourly rates. Another benefit of doing contract work as opposed to full-time is the tax benefits, allowing you to keep more of the money you make. The drawbacks when compared to full-time is less stability because contracts have an end date, and usually no perks, benefits, or paid vacation. The next role is the role of the QA automation engineer. This role is almost entirely the same as that of a manual software tester, with the exception that you are expected to know how to write code. QA automation engineers write simple code to automate parts of the software testing process. As new features are developed, they are typically tested manually. And while QA professionals are not testing them manually, they can write QA automation code to automate the existing features. This allows them to offload some of their work to the automation framework, giving them more capacity to manually test new incoming features. Aside from basic programming knowledge and experience with a tool like Selenium WebDriver, all the other requirements are basically the same as that of a manual tester. Because of this additional technical skill that QA automation engineers have, they are in higher demand and they typically demand a higher compensation. Contract work is also available for QA automation engineers. If you don't want to go deeper into programming or any specific technology, you can still advance your career by becoming a QA manager. Moving into management is usually an internal promotion. All you need to do and all you really can do is show your interest that you do want to move into management, be a good employee, and seek out an opportunity. Some companies don't require their technology managers to have depth in the specific technology they're overseeing. So for example, it's not uncommon for a QA manager to oversee a development team or a DevOps team. I won't be getting into senior QAs or QA leads because those positions are very similar to the ones I've covered already. Instead, I'd like to cover something that's very common in the progression of a QA professional's career, which is moving out of QA. This is the path I chose because as I was working as a QA automation engineer, initially it was my plan to progress in that career path, but I noticed that programming was my favorite part of the job, so software development just seemed like the natural next step. This is definitely a transition for people that like coding, because if you don't like coding, you're not going to enjoy software development. There is generally a lot of movement and flexibility in the technology space. This is not specific to QA. QA professionals also often move into non-technical fields like product management and Scrum Master. Product managers and Scrum Masters have their expertise in the non-technical side of things. To become a Scrum Master or Product Manager, you need to understand non-technical, knowledge-based topics such as Agile and the software development lifecycle. These are great career transitions for people that don't want to go too deep into a specific technology and prefer a more people-centric role. These transitions tend to be internal. In other words, People I have seen move from QA to product or Scrum have been doing so within the same company they were working at. Another transition that is not uncommon is moving from QA to DevOps. DevOps, similar to software development, is another technical role that requires a depth of knowledge in specific technologies. A DevOps engineer must have expertise with Docker, Kubernetes, CI, CD, and other technologies that are required to keep a strong environment running for an application. A strong and resilient environment for the application to run on greatly contributes to the overall performance of the application. This transition is usually made internally, but could be made externally since all of these DevOps items can be self-taught. All of the roles I mentioned can be found within a single company, and this is because all of DevOps, and QA are within the greater software development team. I'm going to wrap it up here. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next one.